Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED for September the 26th. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. And thanks for joining us here as fall underway. The weather has just been... That's why, Joe, people want to come and live here because you've had the last few of the week here. My goodness.
There's a 6-week window here for riding your bicycle in the afternoons and just getting a little spin and a little exercise. And it's just... can't be beat. I mean, it's just like you can live and endure anything for these six weeks. Drought, heat, whatever. Yeah. But when you get here, it's good.
I've been up at Reser Stadium in Corvallis the last few weekends, and I'm telling you, the weather has just been. It's been so fun to watch a football game on a Friday, on a night like that, as you know.
And anyway, it'll be different at the end of football season, as we know. So get it while you can.
Get it while you can. No kidding. Well, today on the show, John L. Scott Real Estate. We've been part of our show now with for some time, and the cool part about it is that we get to talk to successful real estate brokers and get their take on the market. As you know, this market has been something in 2015. Well, it's been, again, when we started our show in 2009, this is how far it's come. Remember, it was 80. You guys remember, it was 80% almost of foreclosed properties were the market, and there wasn't much else being sold for that time. And how it's changed. Anyway, welcome to the show today, Terry Rasmussen, who's a principal broker at John L. Scott. And Terry's been with us before.
Well, welcome back to the show.
Nice to visit with you.
Good to see you again. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, and you're having a good real estate year. It's been an amazing year, hasn't it?
It's been a great year, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, real busy. A lot of people, a lot of first-time home buyers, but also a lot of people moving in from out of state, people moving up. Just everything in the market's kind of clicking. So every segment is working together, and that's what makes a strong market.
Yeah, absolutely. Also today joining us is Judith Foltz, who's the real estate broker at John L. Scott. And it's nice to have you here. You talk right into that thing there, Judith. Nice to have you here on our show the first time.
Thank you, Pete. It's good to be here.
You've been a broker a while. You've seen ups and downs in the market. I know. Is this unprecedented kind of what we're seeing again? Does it bring back memories to you? Tell us what you think about this thing.
This has been a very fast-moving market for sure this year. It seems like it started out day one, the first of the year, houses selling right and left, so it's been a fabulous year, really.
For
Great
everything,
year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I love the question. Everybody asks you, how's the real estate market? Isn't that one of the biggest questions you ask? Mm-hmm. All right, let me ask you two that. How do you answer that today? Because I'm curious as to what you guys see in this whole market. Because you're talking about selling. Hey, selling has gone really well, hasn't it? If you're buying this, it may be different. Anyway, tell me what your definition of that is.
It's been a great market. The interest rates are fabulous. 4%, they kind of hover around 4%. They have been for years. Mm-hmm. The only thing I see as any kind of a negative is somewhat of a lack of inventory this year. So, but, a lot of great buyers coming into the market. A lot of activity. I think we see a lot of sellers coming back into the market finally with the appreciation we've seen. So, overall, it's just been, a great market.
Well, what you say is actually true. There's no question about that. What do you see, Terry?
Well, a great market, I think Judith will agree with me, is a market in which we can take care of our clients. Mm-hmm. And, when you go through a down market and there are clients you can't take care of, they're upside down on their house, or any number of things. Even from the buying side, there's roadblocks to buying. And right now we're in a market where the roadblocks have been taken down for the most part, and the clients can be taken care of. So if they have a house, they're not upside down most times right now. That's a very small part of the market. So
it sure is.
Yeah. So, the sellers can sell, the buyers can buy. Interest rates are great. And again, like Judith said, it'd be nice to have a little bit more inventory, but we have to deal with the state on that, so they'll free up some land so we can build.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't much building that went on for a long time here, Joe. When we started again, Brad Bennington, from the home builder CEO, is part of our shows, and we didn't even think of him when we started talking to him to do a show because there was no home building going on, and how that's changed. But what's being built and the type of housing that's being built here, it seems, again, I'm curious as to what you all think of this. I haven't seen anything unique. All I see building, Joe, is Judith and Terry are just kind of single-family homes, large homes kind of things. And what about the smaller places? What about more duplexes? I don't see much of that going on. Tell me what you guys see.
The state, the county, the local officials, they want a mixture. So they have a percentage of lots that have to be multifamily, higher density residential. The problem is there were lots available, building lots available, that if you had a builder, you could go out and get the lots, and they were out there for sale. Right now, a few people hold most of the lots.
That's true.
And there
We've
just
heard
isn't,
that.
there's so
Very
many
limited.
builders who would like to build, and what we need is more inventory out there. You need more housing. There's not enough housing. There's not enough housing in the sales market. There's not enough housing in the rental market. There's a shortage of housing. Well, when you have a shortage of anything, it creates appreciation. Prices go up.
Sure.
If we could get a better inventory out there, it would level prices off, and people would have a better selection.
And Brad Bennington's pointed out the foreclosed dirt, the cheap dirt, is all spoken for, up, gone, and been taken. So really, there's not a lot. There's a long process to go through to get new lots and to develop new subdivisions and then to start that process beyond what's already been in the plans and in the works.
Right, and the state doesn't want to expand urban growth boundaries too much, urban reserves and all that kind of stuff. And so that just restricts and constricts the ability of developers to get those lots out there.
On a bright note, though, on Crater Lake Avenue, we've got that new apartment complex that's going up. It's just getting started, just going to break ground, and that's the first I've heard.
One.
Yeah, that's
Since
good news.
Charles Point, isn't it? I mean, there hasn't been anything.
I was trying to think of when the
I
last.
thought Charles
last
Point was
major-
the last one, maybe.
Yeah,
Anderson was.
and that'll take care of some housing issues. But all you
not
people
much.
out there who are excited about living in a large apartment complex or renting
That's-
from somebody,
Yeah.
it takes care of a problem for a certain amount of people. But that's not the American dream.
No.
What about investors that you see? I don't know if you work with investors much or not, but certainly, is it changing for them? Because the inventory is low, prices have gone up, right? Investors generally try to get something cheap and on the run like that. What are you seeing in that particular area?
I don't work with a whole lot of investors myself, but always happy to work with investors. Put it that way. It's again, I think it comes down to the lack of available lots, that can be developed, and just the overall lack of inventory, in the area. It just makes it a little difficult.
Yeah, Joe always goes to the planning commissions. Because he does the TV and the planning commissions. Is there anything? Was Terry correct? I mean, is there anything coming that people will be able to buy this stuff, or is what Judith says? If most of the lots are in the hands of a couple of people, that doesn't sound like that's a very good situation.
Yeah, Medford Planning just this week has a new subdivision that I had not seen or kind of heard wind of, but it's been few and far between. Most of the work planning has done was to prepare for the presentation to City Council in their UGB. They're trying to finalize their urban growth boundaries, and there's quite still a debate that's going to play out over the course of the fall.
Yeah.
As to who's in and who's out, Pete. There's some urban reserves. We're not going to get everybody who's got plans and developments. Somebody's going to get cut out. Some of that is the Southeast Medford and the MFR5, which is a big chunk of the Mahar's land, and some of that up there that's already under development. So there's still a debate that is playing out as to who's going to be in and who's going to be out.
Mm-hmm. But Southeast Medford is where that's going to continue to go.
Yeah,
and then up here by Coker Butte, correct? And what in the world did I saw where the city of Central Point extended their boundary? They have like a little narrow strip of land that extends down Highway 99 to Blackwell Road, and then they're going to expand up into that whole area up there.
Yeah, down
towards
Scenic Avenue.
Is that where that where that goes? Okay, yeah. So there's those things, but it doesn't help our situation right now, and that's the thing. We have no rentals available.
Well, and a lot of the land that's being developed. You talk about Southeast Medford. What price range of house are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing.
So where's some land that you can get? The $200,000 house built. And none.
Good
you can
point,
say
Terry,
no place because the shortage of lots pushes the lot prices up. Well, you've got to start with a lot price that's in the $30,000 range to get the house built. That makes sense for a builder to sell it for $200,000.
And our construction costs aren't getting any cheaper, and the subs are short and hard to find. So,
exactly. So most of the new construction is all upper end stuff.
The people that you're dealing with today, and again, we have so many guests come in here week after week, and they tell us, their experiences as well. Where are the out of town buyers? I guess out of area buyers. You've seen a lot of those coming in right now.
You're
Where
really
are they coming
nosy
from?
about that.
I love to know this because, we need to know who our new neighbors are going to be and where they're coming from.
Gosh, I can't think of one state that they're coming from.
Well, listen, the reason I brought it up I bought the San Francisco Chronicle last Sunday, and in the Chronicle, buried in the real estate section, this is an article there that the median price home in the city and county of San Francisco has topped $1 million. And the complaint, can you imagine what people are complaining about in the city? It's changed. It's changing before their eyes. And we're gonna feel part of that. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna feel. We're gonna feel part of this, right?
Not quite to that extent, I don't think.
Well, I hope not.
Not in the near future.
Well, not in the $1 million median range, but
No, not at
but it
all.
has repercussions for us, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It certainly does. I mean, it drives people out of there who can't
Yeah.
afford to be there anymore.
Ashland's
Exactly.
kind of a microcosm of that, is where it's not very family friendly. If you grew up there, you better get a
Well-
good education and a good job if you want to come back and raise your family there.
Well, pick up that paper and just look through the real estate section and see the prices of housing, and it would absolutely make you it would freak you out. And so
My good friends Wendy and Wing are happy about that.
yeah, well, they should be. Some of them are.
Properties there.
There's a lot of properties there. If you value and you anyway, but that affects us, doesn't it? And you're seeing those baby boomers retiring. Is that that was coming here? People with kids. Where's it coming from?
I think there's a lot of baby boomers coming into the area, and like Terry said, from around the country, really. And this Southern Oregon is just getting a lot of attention that
Yeah.
way. So, definitely, I work with a lot of buyers that come from out of state, and definitely is a good part of the market.
Do you agree with Lennox Scott's prediction that this is going to continue for some time? Maybe little blips and bumps, but I mean, I kind of agree with him now. I mean, after seeing what's going on, that. This market is the demand is going to continue. The West Coast demand is going to continue.
Definitely, I think so for sure.
Well, you got incredible livability. I mean, if you just talk about livability, we talked about that coming in, these beautiful fall days.
Yeah.
But, we don't have tornadoes here. We don't have hurricanes
Yeah.
here.
Oh.
We don't really, in my lifetime, I've lived here all my life, there's been one earthquake here.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's talking about the big one, but, I'll worry about that after it occurs.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's just not, it's just the livability. You don't have the humidity, all that kind of stuff that will drive you crazy in other areas of the country. My wife and I often go, do we really get to live here? Of all the places we could have been, planted on the face of this earth, we get to live here. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's an amazing place to live.
And it's so centrally located. I mean, you can be at the coast in 3 hours. You can go to Portland, go down to the Bay Area. It's just, a
Climb a mountain.
great location. Go
Well, we're
skiing.
seeing
Raptor River.
Yep, Raptor River.
Those predictions are coming
They're
true.
listening. They're hearing us out there. Here they come.
The secret is out.
Yeah,
well,
it really
it's
is.
going to put pressure on government and officials to deal with these things. Otherwise, we're going to become too high priced, and we don't want that to happen. Or you don't want people to live somewhere else, and have to come here. I mean, we don't want that anyway. But the market itself is supply and demand, right? I mean, it's supply and demand, and we know the biggest issue right now. And we sit at the John L. Scott meetings with our managing broker Jim Remley on Tuesdays for our real estate lessons, and the information coming out is really fascinating to me in terms of this market and where you can actually take it and how you can break it down. And don't you think? I mean, for instance, it's 2.3 months supply of inventory overall.
Right now. Overall.
Right now, overall. That's overall. But you can break that down into really some interesting statistics, and I would advise you to ask a John L. Scott agent and call like the four of us up or something for this information. But I just give you an example. If you're selling in a certain price category, you want to know what's the inventory in that particular category, because it's different by each
You bet.
category,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
it, Terry?
Well, yeah, and
shockingly so.
I think the place that you have to start is what is considered a healthy market.
Okay.
Okay, a healthy market is 5 to 6 months of inventory.
Yeah.
That gives buyers and sellers an even point to work from. No one has an advantage.
Right.
Okay?
It's not a seller's market nor a buyer's market.
Right.
It's
balanced.
It's the
It's
balanced
balanced.
market. Okay.
Okay. So when you say that the overall market has, the 2.3 months of supply, that's amazing. But then when you break it down by price bracket,
it reveals a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, Judith, okay, I was going to say, go ahead.
In terms of where the percentage of the market is.
Well, okay, so let's start there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like what Terry was saying, when you start breaking it down into price range, it's real interesting. I mean, right now in under 150,000, there's like 0.73, months of inventory. Yeah, which is not much at all.
Which essentially means it's sold out.
Yeah. And
it hits the market, it's gone.
And that is why
exactly.
That's why you're getting multiple offers on those types of properties. Okay, yeah. At the other end of the spectrum, Judith, it's totally opposite, isn't it?
You've got a million plus. You're looking at about 14 months of inventory.
Yeah. So I think it was 22 months. If I remember that, wasn't that
750 to $1 million. You're looking at about 22 and a half months of inventory.
So that figures out. You have a $750,000 property or above, and you put it on the market. We're telling you got a 2.3 month inventory supply, but in your price range, it's a 22-month supply.
That's why when Joe Brett went and bought his new house, he had so much to choose from.
That's right. In that category,
I more about the house I rented for 10 years. I'm really happy there. So now I've got home ownership.
Well, that might have been the barn,
and also
there.
Pete, another John L. Scott statistic was the number of homes sold and the number of new listings. Disparity there. We're not getting a bunch more listings to replace the inventory that's moving.
Well, there's a whole lot going on. We've got a break coming up. We're with Terry Rasmussen and Judith Foltz on the Real Estate Show, a John L. Scott Market Watch show. We're coming right back after this. Real Estate Show continues here on KMED, September the 26th of 2015. Pete Belcastro, Joe Brett, the Real Estate Guys with you. Don't forget, you can watch any of our shows, both on TV and on cable, and on radio, I should say, at realestateshowOregon.com or at youtube.com/realestateshowOregon. Boy, fall's underway here. The weather's great. Everything's rosy. Every time that happens, I get a little nervous because things go too well, and you just wait for something to happen. And the real estate market, is an up and down market, but right now the trajectory is still ascending, I would certainly say. Today we're with Terry Rasmussen and Judith Foltz, two John L. Scott brokers who are with us today on the Real Estate Show. And it's great to have you here. You two... I'm curious, what did you guys do before you became real estate brokers? You've been at it a long time, because I remember when I moved to the Rogue Valley, you guys have been around. So tell me what you did, Judith, before you became a broker.
Well, I've been a real estate broker now for about 25 years.
25 years.
And
wow.
just to let you know why I got into real estate, first of all, I was looking for my first home and working with an agent here in the Valley. And, he wasn't real helpful, and I thought to myself, gosh, I could do this, and I could probably do a lot better job, and I've been doing it ever since. But before I was in real estate, believe it or not, I was in heavy construction.
Heavy construction?
Yeah.
Did you drive trucks or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I worked on the Elk Creek Dam, drove a big a piece of equipment on the dam. I did a lot of, I worked on a drilling and blasting crew up there. I did a lot of, before that, I was in retail, so it was definitely a much better paying job.
Now it is, I'm sure. Well, you run obviously a very successful real estate business. I admire people who are entrepreneurial and can do that. And Terry's the same way. I mean, but I don't even know what you did before you became a broker.
Well, I know what I'm going to do is give her more room at the office. She's a tough woman.
I did.
It always surprises people.
So my entry into real estate, I need to back up a little bit. When I was a kid, I was about third grade, and we bought a house. My parents bought a house, and the real estate broker was this wiry guy who was a chain smoker. We'd go into his little office, and it was just smoke filled. This is back in the 60s, and it was just horrible. And he sat cross-legged in his chair, and he was just as wiry as can be. And I thought, I don't ever want to do this job, because that was what a real estate broker was to me.
That's what it was.
So then I ended up working in my 20s. I got into title and escrow business.
Okay.
And worked for a title company. And, the market late 90s is kind of up and down a little bit. And it goes into winter. Things slow down. Bottom of the totem pole. I get laid off.
Okay.
And I went, okay, no one's ever going to tell me again if I'm going to work or not. So I went to real estate school, and I got picked up by another title company, went to work for them while I went to real estate school. And as soon as I got my license, I quit there, and I've been doing it since 1989 for 26 years.
Well, you're both one of my heroes. Because,
so now the market gets to tell me whether I'm going to work or not.
I was going to say, but it's not anybody else telling me that.
That's right.
Well, that's really cool stories. That's really neat. I didn't know those things. So, well, it makes it fun. I want to ask you, we have talked, because we talk about a lot about rural properties here on our show, and of course I grew up on a ranch. Rural properties are very dear to me. The Jackson Soil Water Conservation District's part of our show, so we we hear these things. A quarter of the market, Judith, a quarter of the market is a rural property, which is about 500 new people living on a rural property year after year after year. It's really a changing landscape. I know you deal a lot with rural properties. What are you seeing happening out there?
In terms of
just the market, is there? I mean, we look at the statistics. They're in great demand, and prices are going up. And I fear a lot for our rural properties of what could happen. I don't know if that's overstating it, or what do you think?
Well, I think what I'm seeing is that rural properties are harder to come by for sure.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people that want to live on, especially coming from out of state, California for sure, that want to be on a larger piece of property than what they've been living on. But I think the hardest thing that I see is that the inventory, and the lack of availability. And a lot of those properties are getting snatched up pretty quickly when they do come on the market.
When a new property comes on.
When the new property comes on the market.
Because if you look at the market, again, if overall with the 2.3 month supply, some of those properties have been on the market a long time. Wouldn't you say, is that true, that are available right now? They've been out there a long time, days on market?
Yeah, the part of having the days on market get pushed up to where it is the longevity of the overpriced listing.
Right.
It pushes that average up. So,
yeah.
But what the statistics show is if your house doesn't sell in the first 30 days, the chances of it selling drops dramatically.
And for the price you want, correct?
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, and the problem is people think, well, I'm going to push the market. Well, you can push the market, but in the long run, you hurt yourself because it becomes that overpriced house out on such and so lane that everyone, even the public knows it because it's been on Zillow and Trulia and it's been out there for a while, and everyone knows it's this overpriced house. And to get back into the market where people will re-engage with your house, you have to drop it down below typically where it should have started. Had you started and priced it right, you'll maximize your sale, maximize what you're going to get out of it, rather than having to do the price drop dance.
And what we hear from certainly as John L. Scott anyway preaches is be market ready day one.
Definitely.
Be ready because
Definitely.
It's just otherwise you're wasting your time, you're wasting everybody's time, and you're not going to get what you want.
And I find that my clients are taking that very seriously these days.
I do too.
I find that usually when I talk with some clients and I know I'm going to be listing their house, it usually can be like several weeks or a month before they get it on the market because they want to improve their house and get it market ready before they put it on the market. And it's only benefits them in the long run.
Does it, with the market the way it is, are people still responding to that? Because if I can put it on, I'm going to sell it within, 30 days, right?
Well, certain people do respond to that and certain people don't. You can tell some people all that you want, but if they get a number in their head, they're going to go with it because to them that just feels what is right. And then, it doesn't sell, and then they get frustrated and who's the bad guy? All of a sudden I can't sell real estate after 26 years. I don't know what I'm doing.
Because you have to price them right. And have you had experience? Joe and I both had that recently in terms of appraisers and appraisals coming in low for some of your properties as they've been loans because. Of course, according to some of the people who've been in here, there's a lot of cash transactions that are skewing the market a little bit, skewing the market a little bit there. Have you experienced any of that?
Some. Some.
Bit, okay.
Just a little.
It hasn't been a big issue with you at this point. Okay.
It hasn't been a big issue, no.
But but back to the rural properties. Have you had any experience regarding marijuana, legal marijuana in rural properties? Inquiries about GMO-free properties, or is that out there that people are aware of this thing? I feel that they are. I don't know what you think.
Well, I think certainly, properties that would work for, let's say, growing marijuana are in demand for sure in this area. With all the changes that are happening here locally in the state,
And tell me about, agents need to be aware of some of the people who are buying these properties think they can just take water and use water and, they can. So really the issues, real estate brokers need to be aware of some of these things, don't we? I hope people are.
Well, I think you have to educate people for sure, when it comes to real properties.
Yeah.
And not everyone, knows the ins and outs of a real property.
Absolutely.
There's, you've got,
more questions to ask.
Yeah, there's a lot more questions. There's a lot more things to take into consideration, your water, your septic, your the zoning of the property, et cetera, that come into play.
I know that you both sell a lot of rural properties. Have you had any, what's been your experience with the changing rules regarding septics and inspections and things that have been put on rural properties? Have you had any weird experiences with it, or has that been a normal flow now that they have to have more inspections on that?
Well, I think, it's pretty much business as usual. I think the only difference is the reports that are being put out now on a septic system per se are a lot more extensive than they used to be. But you still, you still have to follow all the same guidelines, basically.
But it hasn't negated any property sales in your experiences and stuff?
Not in my experience.
Okay. Well,
No, I've got one right now in escrow, and we've got to get a new septic drain field put in before, it closes escrow. But that was known before it ever went on the market. So that's been in process.
Well, that's good to hear that people are responding to that, because I was fearing that, my goodness, what are poor sellers going to end up doing here regarding septics? But that's good to hear. Anyway, the Real Estate Show up against a break one more time here with Judith Foltz and Terry Rasmussen from John L. Scott Real Estate Brokers. The JLS Market Watch Show continues here on KMED AM and FM right after this. Real Estate Show rolls on KMED September the 26th of 2015. Hope you're going to have a good weekend and make something happen and enjoy the weather while the fall continues here around. We need rain and we need snow, and pretty soon we're going to start. We'll start the drum roll and the praying for that kind of thing, because man, I tell you, for the second year in a row, and I don't know, our guests Terry Rasmussen and Judith Foltz from John L. Scott, the real estate brokers here, but I don't know what you guys think, and how much you follow, but the water managers of the Rogue Valley, the Rogue Basin, whoever, the people who run from the Army Corps to the Immigrant Lake, all that. This is the second year in a row they have managed what a shrink supply superbly. Second year in a row. My hat's off to them. They do a great job with that.
They have done a good job.
Yeah.
And we talk about the West Coast drought. Well, the drought in Southern Oregon means a lot different than the drought in California means.
Oh, yes. It really does.
So we're still getting some irrigated pasture lands. We've got water to drink. We're watering our lawns. Yeah. It looks a lot different. It means our forests are dry.
And part of that is the fact that we have Lost Creek Dam and the great irrigation systems that are out there. And otherwise, almost every stream would be dry, wouldn't they? I mean, there would be no fish alive. There would be nothing. And I look at Bear Creek when I take the dogs in, there's water in there and there's fish in there.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for storing of water. So my hat's off again. Second year in a row, they've managed this water around this Rogue Basin superbly. I hope you don't have to do it next year this way. I would love to have all the reservoirs full. That's our wish for the year. We're with Terry Rasmussen and Judith Foltz of John L. Scott Real Estate Brokers here on the Real Estate Show. You've got some good advice I want you to share with our listeners, because people who've been with us and listened to this show, we think that they've learned a lot. But as you break down the market further, it really reveals what is where you should be in terms of selling a house, right? So Terry, share that with us if you would.
So if you're looking to sell your home and you're in the $150,000 to $200,000 price range right now, there's about 8,300 of a month. So what? 3.5 weeks,
less than a month,
less than a month of inventory out there. The chances are you probably
that's in like Medford, correct?
That's the Rogue Valley.
That's the Rogue Valley. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
150 to 250.
150 to 250.
So that simply means there's not much there.
There's hardly anything there under $250,000.
Okay. So when one comes up, it goes quickly, multiple offers. You have to be ready to go right then in that category. Okay.
And it's a hard thing for a buyer to wrap their head around the fact that they may have to actually offer more than the asking price.
Yes.
Do you want to get it? Well, you may have to offer a couple $1,000s more here to get it. In Seattle, they're going $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over asking price to get things.
Dear, really?
So, we say, well, that's crazy. You're not living in Seattle. You got to go up there and try and buy a house.
So, okay, all right.
When you look at the $250,000 to $300,000 price range, we have 2.5 months supply.
Say 250 to 300,000.
350.
250 to 350,000. There is a
2.5 month supply.
So that's what the statistics are showing.
Right.
So that's right at that market there.
Still low, but there's some stuff to look at.
Okay.
There's things out there to go. So, some of that is overpriced inventory. Okay. Some people need to drop their price down, and they'll have some success. When you go up to the $350,000 to $500,000 price range, again, it's still 2.84%, just a little bit more than the previous bracket. So all the way up to $500,000, you have less than 3 months supply. And healthy, again, as a reminder, is 5 to 6 months supply.
Right.
That's a balanced market. Once you get to 500 to 750,000, it goes up to 8.5 months supply, and from there, above that, it jumps to 22.4 months supply. So if you're kind of in that bubble area, well, I'm about 75,000, 760,000. You might want to do a price drop and get it down into the price bracket.
Right.
You'll drop from 8.5 months supply down to 2.84 months supply. It really can change, the bracketing. And one thing about pricing, I think that's important for people to know is there's a tendency to put your house on the market for $399.
Right. $399.9. Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is the buyer that's on Zillow who's bracketing and looking for $400,000 to $500,000 just missed your house by $100. It was not coming up.
Right.
So it's important that when you price it according to the brackets that these computer website generated sites are using, and they're using round numbers, not $999.
Right.
Not that kind of stuff. So you want to be within those brackets and know what those brackets are. And if your agent doesn't pay attention to that, you need to educate them as a seller and say, no, this is where I want my price.
Absolutely true, and that's proven that price that does work.
Those brackets are very important.
The brackets there. Look at the things that are out there that can help along the process.
Definitely,
Technology. We're almost out of time here. When you two started in real estate, they just had a book. Was it just a book, like a multiple listing book that came
Made
out?
from newsprint.
Yes.
Is that what it was? It was that,
And
wasn't
you got one once every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Every 2
and you
weeks.
had to thumb through it. Yep.
By the time you got it, half of it was sold already. You had to know what was on the market.
Well,
you really had to stay active.
YouTube has really changed today, hasn't it? The way
yeah.
technology.
And the contract was one page.
Yeah.
One page sale agreement.
That's not that way anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No.
So you've really seen a lot. The technology really, the buyer, don't you think the buyer, though, is so much more informed than they were when you started, right? I mean, they know what's going on.
Oh, definitely. Half the time the buyers come to you and say, I want to see this, this, and that, because they've done all their research online before they've even connected with you, So, they're very, very informed.
And the John L. Scott app, we want you to download that if you don't have it, because that's a great way to search for properties. I'll tell you, that thing is... whoever invented that must have earned a lot of money because it's pretty darn good.
I use it all the time.
I do too.
When I'm out. It's an amazing app.
It's an amazing app, that's for sure. Well, before we get out of here, what do you think? You think this is going to continue for, the fall? Usually what happens in the fall from your experience? Everybody says the thing slows down, but I don't know if it's going to much.
Well, in my experience, I've always done a lot of business in the fall.
I know,
found that the fall is a very busy time.
Fall and winter.
Kind of
put winter in there too?
Fall and winter,
Okay.
I'd say, I've always, been very, very busy. Right now, after kids go back to school, it can slow down a bit, but I certainly expect it to pick back up.
See, and my lull was towards the end of summer. As soon as school went back in, I'm just busier than a coon right now.
Is that right? You're
just
just
working.
back there.
So you can get another slowdown maybe towards Christmas, but it's staying pretty strong. People are very active in the market right now.
Yeah, it is.
In fact, most
a
of my
very
people
active market.
the statement I'm hearing is, "Can I get in before Thanksgiving? Can I get in before Christmas?"
And Central Point, you go Eagle Point out there,
all
over the place. Judith, I see your stuff all over the place as well. So it's well-rounded right now, and it definitely is a seller's market too, right? I mean,
it is very much a seller's
very
market.
much a seller's market. So you got to be ready. Be ready day one, or otherwise you're not going to get it in the place you want. And that's the most heartbreaking thing I found in real estate. Is this person really wants a house, and we don't get it. We don't like that.
Right.
No?
And a lot of people are concerned that maybe we're in another bubble, but we're not. What we're doing is we've recovered from the downturn of the previous bubble. So we're just right on track right now from where it should have been year over year for a long period of time.
Well, you heard it directly from two pretty darn good real estate brokers, Terry Rasmussen and Judith Foltz. Thank you guys for being with us. I learned a lot, and best of luck to you. And we'll have you back on again sometime. That'll do it for the Real Estate Show on KMED. Have a great week, everybody, and God bless. And we'll see you next weekend right back here on KMED.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on KMED AM and FM radio, presented by John L. Scott Real Estate of Southern Oregon, along with All Cities Property Management, the Home Builders Association of Jackson County, Ditech Mortgage, the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. For guest information or to watch a past show, visit us online at realestateshoworegon.com. Join us again next weekend for Southern Oregon's one and only Real Estate Show on KMED.